Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Baseball Freak 075 bringing you guys another video here today. And today we're going to be doing an MLB team's tier list. In no way, shape, or form is this going to be like power rankings. I can do that in a separate video if you guys would like. And first and foremost, we're going to be having some more videos coming real soon. MLB is just a couple weeks away in a couple days. And opening day is right around the corner. It's like just a couple days away as well. So, yeah, we're going to be having probably a lot of good content coming your guys' way here before too long, especially from the MLB, the show aspect, because as you guys know, that's something I'm really going to be harping on. Look for my next video to more than likely be like 5 tips and tricks, or 5 things to look out for, I guess would probably be the better way to put it. 5 things to look out for going into the next MLB. That's probably what I'm going to make for my next video. Don't know when that's going to drop. Sometime this week, probably this weekend. But, yeah, just something to put on your guys' taste buds a little bit before we dive into MLB The Show 21, because that's what the goal is. Anyways, please excuse, we got some background noise going on. Hopefully, when I put music over this, when I edit it, it won't be as bad. There's somebody with a drill going ballistic outside. They're doing some kind of project or something. I have no idea. But, yeah, I'm only going to put a couple teams in the S tier. For me, it's more so not how they play, but how their team is on paper. How I'm going to rank their team in the S. So, for instance, I think the Braves are better than the Mets, but I'm not going to put the Braves in S tier simply because I don't think their roster is better than the Mets. That's the best example I can give you guys. I think they play way better than the Mets, and I think they're a better team, but they don't have the same roster construction on paper right now that the Mets do. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Yankees, I'm kind of in between A and S, but their team all in all is just so good. Picking up Kluber, James Tynan, I think they're an S pretty easily. Their lineup is stacked. If Aaron Judge and Stanton are healthy, S tier all day. The Mariners are an interesting team. In a couple years, maybe even 1 or 2, I think they could be in the B. Right now, I'm gonna put them in the C. They still got a lot to prove, but they have a very, very good core. Right there, right now, and it's just continuing to get better. Rays, I'm gonna put them in the A tier. They're not the best team, but they always find a way into the playoffs. Always find a way into the postseason. They always just get themselves in there somehow. Tremendous pitching, one of the best pitching staffs in the game, bullpen wise, and the rotation's very solid. As well. The Toronto Blue Jays, I think a lot of people are really, really high on the Blue Jays, and I can understand. They're a really exciting team, but I don't think they're any better than a B. I think they have a couple good pitching pieces, but their pitching just still is not there for me. I know a lot of people might think they are, but they're going to have to prove me otherwise. You're going to have to do more than in a 60-game season have a good bullpen for me to say that, you have a good rotation, a good bullpen. I'm sorry. The offense is immaculate. It is one of the better offenses in the game. The pitching, besides Hinge and Ryu, and then Kirby Yates went down for the year, no, they're in B tier. The Miami Marlins, I'm going to put them in the C tier too. They're getting very close, just like the Mariners, to getting up to B tier. They still have a lot to prove, though. Again, 60-game season, not going to go off a lot of what you see there, but yeah. The Cardinals are another team. I think they're kind of, in the B tier. They acquired, one of the biggest, I guess not free agent, one of the biggest acquisitions of the offseason in Nolan Arenado. And they'd probably be in the C tier, maybe the B tier. I think a lot of people have their bullpen and rotation underrated. And I am a Cardinals fan, so maybe there's a little bit of bias, but they have one of the most underrated bullpens in the game. A top 5, I would say, for sure. And people just think because Wainwright's old that he's not going to perform well. I don't buy into that. He is kind of defying time, these past couple seasons he's been really good. Again, he's no Justin Verlander or anything like that, but he's still very solid. They have a lot of depth in the pitching. That's what the Cardinals are known for. Their lineup is going to be serviceable. It's a lot better with Arenado, but it still needs, some room for improvement. If they could get a couple more pieces, maybe you could see them in that 8 category, but not right now. Astros, if they still had Garrett Cole, they'd probably be in the S, but right now they're just a really solid team. coming off kind of a down season last year. They finished negative and then got in the postseason and shot their way up pretty significantly. I think they got to the ALCS, was it? I don't remember. I think so. And they lost out to the Rays, I'm pretty sure. But they still have a very, very solid team. Whether any of us like to admit it or not, they still are a very, very good team. But it looks like it's probably going to be coming to an end for the Astros and their crazy runs, because Carlos Correa is on his way out. Springer already left, unless they can somehow, extend Correa. They extended McCullers, but I don't know. They still have a lot to prove. They still have some chips on their shoulder from 2017, and everybody, no fans last year being able to go and boo at them and all that, and they're going to have to deal with that this season then. So yeah, the Braves, they're very, very, very close to being S tier, and I think they are better than the Mets. I'm going to put the Mets in S, but on paper, I don't think that their bullpen and rotation is quite as good as the Mets. I think it's good. I don't think it's as good as the S tier teams, though. Offense for sure is S tier. Pitching and from both the bullpen and the rotation, A and B-ish in my eyes. They're gonna still like I've said before. They're gonna have to prove me wrong. I'm not just gonna go off a 60-game season and base everything off that. But the acquisition of Charlie Morton was huge for them, so we're gonna have to see, kind of how that plays out. The Orioles are in D tier. Don't think there's a lot to really say about them. They got a lot of good pieces on the way, but the Orioles have had a lot of good up-and-coming pieces for a multitude of years, so we're going to have to see, what they do. Adley Rutschman is going to probably be really good, but, we're just going to have to wait and see. The Orioles are in the D tier. Cleveland Indians, I'm going to put them in the B tier. Now, I don't think they're going to play B tier-wise necessarily this year, but with the talent they have on their team right now, you have to put them in B tier. You could argue even A. I think people are sleeping on them a lot just because they trade away their good pieces, most notably Francisco Lindor. But they have a really good team there still. I don't think they're going to win the division, but I think a lot of people are kind of overlooking them. And their ownership is kind of failing them. They have been. And I think that's the main reason why they're so slept on, because they still have J-Ram. They still have a couple good pieces in that lineup, even though they got rid of Santana. But from a pitching perspective, still immaculate. Still one of the better pitching rosters in the game, I would argue. Okay, the Colorado Rockies. I want to put them in the C just because Trevor Story, but you can't. You got to put them in the D. The Colorado Rockies, traded Nolan Arenado. That was their star. Now they have Story and Blackman, who are all right, but that's it. You can't do much with just two, one really good and one all right player in baseball. It's not like basketball where you can just have a couple superstars and just be amazing. You gotta have them all over the field, and that is not the case for the Rockies. They're pitching. We don't even need to say anything. Detroit Tigers, I think they're honestly kind of closer to C than people would imagine, because they have a lot of really good talent on the way, right at the doorstep. I think Casey Mize even made the opening day roster, so that's just another thing to look forward to. And again, this is in no particular order, so the Yankees are obviously, I don't think they're the best team, but I just don't feel the need to go through and do kind of a power rankings in this video. I feel like we could do that in another one. But I think the Tigers are a lot closer to being C than most people would say. The Royals, I'm going to go ahead and put them in the C tier. I think their lineup is very, very, very underrated. They picked up Carlos Santana, and I think I'm missing somebody else. They picked up Carlos Santana, and they definitely signed somebody else, and I just can't think of it right now, so shame on me. But their lineup is really good. Their lineup is really good. Not crazy, but it's very solid, I should say that. Jorge Soler, Carlos Santana, almost said George Brett. What's his name second? Whit Merrifield, that's his name. I mean, it's just a pretty solid lineup. Pitching-wise, whole different story. We don't need to get into that, but the lineup's solid. The Milwaukee Brewers, I also think a lot of people are sleeping on them. I'm going to go ahead and put them in B tier, just mainly because of their pitching. Their lineup isn't too crazy, but their pitching is, kind of ridiculous. Especially their bullpen with Josh Hader and Devin Williams. And then they got Corbin Burns and Brandon Woodruff in their rotation. I mean, come on, that's really nasty stuff right there. And, okay. If it was the power rankings, I'd put the Angels in C, but just off a talent perspective, they have the best player in baseball, Mike Trout, they have Shohei Ohtani, Anthony Rendon, I gotta put them in B, because all the amazing talent is there, but that pitching, man, holy crap, is that pitching bad. It is horrible. It is horrible. I don't know what the Angels are ever thinking. They go out and get these pieces, like these pitchers that are just horrible, and go off and spend all this money on their lineup when their lineup isn't even close to being the problem. I don't know. I forgot the Blue Jays got Marcus Semien as well. I always forget that. I don't know why. I want to put the Athletics in the A tier, no pun intended. Trying to look and see who else I'm gonna put in it, because I feel like they, I'm gonna put them in the B. I'm gonna put them in the B tier. I think you could make an argument for them to be in the A tier, but I don't know. I don't like how they lost Semien, and I'm not big on the A's rotation. I think their bullpen is really good, but I'm not big on the A's rotation at all. Maybe that's just me kind of being a little stingy, but I don't think that the A's are necessarily, crazy on the pitching side, aside from the bullpen. Their lineup is alright, pretty decent. Matt Chapman, Matt Olson, what have you. They don't have Chris Davis, he went to the Rangers. Why am I struggling? They got Elvis Andrus. I'm struggling to think of any more bats, but, regardless, Ramon Laureano, just people like that. But still a very solid team. Just missing out on the A tier very narrowly. If they had, a better rotation, they definitely would be in the A tier. The Phillies, I gotta put them in the C tier. With Bryce Harper and Realmuto, I think they're really solid, but I don't know. I think they're very overrated just because they have Harper and Realmuto, which are two really, really good players, but their pitching's still horrible. They picked up somebody that's a reliever. I can't remember who it was. They picked up a closer that's actually decent, and I can't remember who it is. Gosh, I can't remember who it is. But they picked up a closer finally. That's what they needed. But that doesn't make your whole bullpen good. A closer can't come out there every game, and if you're not in a save situation, why even bring in a closer? Pirates, D tier, we really don't need to even discuss. Brian Hayes is the whole team. That's it. Padres, S tier. Amazing offense, amazing defense, amazing rotation, amazing bullpen. Don't need to really go on too much about them. The Rangers, another team in the D tier. Joey Gallo and, yeah, pretty much it. Joey Gallo. The Boston Red Sox, I think they're being slept on a little bit. I don't think they're great. I don't think they're bad, though. Their lineup is really good, kind of very underrated, just like the Royals, but their lineup is even better than the Royals, pretty significantly, I'd say. They still have Bogarts. They picked up Hunter Renfroe. They have the guy who they traded for, Verdugo. He's really good. They picked up Kike Hernandez. He's also very solid. Overall a really, really good team. Lineup-wise. Their pitching, more to be desired. But, lineup-wise, not too bad. The Giants, I'm going to go ahead and put them in the C tier. Yeah, I'm going to put them in the C tier. Their pitching, they're kind of like, a lesser version of the Red Sox. I want to put them in the D tier, but I think they, I think they're a little bit better than the D tier right now. I don't know. They have Kevin Gausman is their best pitcher. When that's your best pitcher, I don't know. But their lineup is decent with Yastrzemski and all that. The Dodgers, best team in baseball. we all know what their roster looks like and all the superstars they have. Not really a whole lot more to be said. Alright. The Diamondbacks are a tough team for me to rank. I honestly think that the Diamondbacks might be a little bit worse than the Giants. I don't know. It's very... You can put it in either or. Just if I was going to be nice, I would put them in C, but I don't want to have, you know, a whole bunch of C's, because that's honestly probably what it's going to look like. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just leave them in the D tier. You could put them in the C tier and it wouldn't hurt my feelings. Just for the sake of this video, though, I'm going to put them in the D tier, just, you know, kind of even things out. I think the Diamondbacks are a good team. They're in the wrong division, though. They're not like a super good team, but they're a team like, say, the Royals, that if they were in that division, they would compete, you know, a lot better. But the pitching isn't very good. Zach Gallen is about all they have, and he's down for nobody even knows how long. And the lineup just keeps getting worse. They always trade away people. You know, they had Goldie, they had JD Martinez, excuse me. And it was a lot better at one point, but now it's Eduardo Escobar and Ketel Marte, and all right, New York Mets going into S tier. Again, I don't necessarily know if they're going to play in the S tier category, but this is just like on paper. I definitely think the Mets are one of the better teams in the game on paper. Rotation, one of the best for sure. Bullpen, very solid. Lineup now, because they signed all these crazy players and made all these trades, very solid. Going to be a team to look out for. Again, I don't necessarily know if they're going to beat out the Braves. They have a good chance to, though. This is going to be our last S tier team. The White Sox, I might buy into the hype a little bit too much, and they don't have Jimenez right now. The White Sox are loaded. Grandal, Abreu, Nick Madrigal, Tim Anderson. I mean, it just keeps going on. Luis Robert, whatever you want to call him. He is, I mean, not just him. The whole team is insane. And then you go to the rotation, and it isn't too bad either. They have Giolito, and I feel like I'm missing somebody else. But Giolito's their ace, and you know has a good chance to win the Cy Young in the American League. Very, very good. Bullpen, lights out. Garrett Crochet. What do you say? I mean, that man is insane. And then they got Liam Hendricks, who is arguably the best closer in baseball. But yeah, their team is very, very, very good. And then I know it doesn't have any effect on the, like, you know, necessarily directly, depending on how you look at it. But when they got Tony La Russa, I mean, that's one of the best managers all time. Like, when you put a manager like that on a team, you know, like that, if everything works out, I really think the White Sox have a good chance to go for a championship this year. I mean, they're just loaded. They have a manager now that just knows, you know, what's going on. I mean, we're going to have to see. It might take him a year or two to get adjusted to the team, but, you know, I think they're going to be doing just fine this year. The Minnesota Twins, oh, man. A lot of people might not like this. I'm going to put them in the B tier. I don't think their pitching is good enough to be in the A tier. I really don't. I really don't. I think their lineup is immaculate, but I don't think their pitching is very good, aside from Kenta Maeda and Jose Barrios. And they have, like Taylor Rogers or something out of the bullpen. Not very good. Not very good at all. Chicago Cubs. I want to put them in the B tier. I'm going to put them in the C tier, though, because their pitching is trash. Their pitching is horrendous. I mean, they got Baez, Rizzo, and they picked up Arrieta. They still have Bryant, Rizzo. What is his name, shortstop? I just said it, Baez. Who am I forgetting? Bryant, Rizzo, Contreras, Levy, and I think I'm forgetting somebody. But, I mean, they still have, their starting pitcher, Kyle Hendricks. He's probably, you know, the only pitcher on that rotation worth you know, anything. I know Alec Mills threw a no-hitter, but that doesn't mean you're a good pitcher just because you throw one no-hitter. That doesn't just turn you into one of the best pitchers in the game instantaneously. We've seen it time and time again. People can throw no-hitters and not be that great of a pitcher. Not taking anything away from him. Obviously, he's better than I am, but, you know, like, he's not one of the better pitchers in the game. Not even top 30, I'd argue to say. So, yeah. I'm going to put the Nationals in the A tier. I think a lot of people are sleeping on the Nationals. Again, their rotation isn't crazy. Still very good, though. Very solid. You know, one of the better rotations in all of baseball. Their bullpen got better because they picked up Brad Hand, and it's okay. Nothing too crazy, but their lineup is very, very solid. Their rotation, top 3 in baseball, I would argue. Top 5 for sure. Just insane. And the Reds, I want to put them. I kind of want to put them above the Cubs. I want to put them in the B tier because on paper, they're literally insane. Like, if you looked at their team on paper, you would think the Reds would be one of, you know, kind of the premier teams in baseball because on paper they have such a good... Okay, if we're taking last year out of the equation, which I've kind of done in most of these instances, and just, you know, kind of give like a little pass on last year because it was 60 games, I don't know. I will be nice to the Reds. A lot of people hate the Reds, so I'm going to be nice to them. I'm going to be nice to the Reds. They're a division rival of mine. I'm still going to be nice to them. I think their team is way too good on paper to not be, like, you know, really good. They made the postseason for the first time in forever. I know it's a 60-game season, and I know I've been, like, you know, being the devil's advocate here and there and all that, but I really do think the Reds are kind of a too good team to not, like, do something. I mean, I don't necessarily know if they're better than the Cardinals, because the Cardinals just always, you know, finish in the top of that division. But, I mean, Mike Moustakas, Nick Castellanos, Eugenio Suarez, Jesse Winker, Aristides Aquino, and then I forget who their catcher is, Tucker Barnhart, Joey Votto. I mean, you can't have a lineup like that and not do better. That lineup is not like far behind an Oakland Athletics lineup. It's not that far behind a, well, it's a little bit behind the Twins line. But if you look at all those names, if they played to the caliber they should have played last season, that team should be way better in the offensive game. Now, their pitching isn't the craziest, but they have a very, very solid 1 and 2 with, Luis Castillo and Sonny Gray. Very, very solid 1-2. Very solid. And their bullpen's all right. They have Amir Garrett. They traded Raisel Iglesias to the Angels. But they got a couple good arms. They have Michael Lorenzen, Archie Bradley, and a couple more good arms. I mean, that's not horrible. Definitely a serviceable, bullpen, better than a lot of these teams. And am I kind of being a little biased maybe against the Cubs, putting them in the C tier? Probably, but I really think their pitching is that bad. Like, I know their lineup's really good. Their pitching is horrible. But, I mean, again, this is just my opinion. You can make an argument about the Cubs being in B tier, and I could probably buy it. But just for the sake of this video, and because the Cubs pitching is so bad, I'm just going to go ahead and put them in the C tier. So, this is what I got. This is my tier list for the MLB. Is it perfect? Probably not. But somebody had to do it. But I just want to thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed the video. And we're going to have some MLB The Show content coming your guys' way very, very soon. So take it easy. Have a good one. Peace out.